Rollins, and we're watching together this new trial out of Florida for defendant Herbert Swilley.
Swilley was arrested back in 2023 for the murder of 59-year-old Timothy Floyd Smith. This was his husband. The couple had been married nearly 8 years. Smith was found dead in an apartment after he failed to show up at work.
Yeah, let's go back into the courtroom now. We've got a new witness on the stand. We're hearing these lay witnesses, people who knew both the defendant and the victim. This one is a family attorney.
Diane Deluski, Deluski, D-Y-L-E-W-S-K-I.
Thank you. Are you currently employed?
Sometimes, part-time.
Okay. What do you do part-time?
Family attorney.
Do you know someone named Herbert Swilley?
Yes, I do.
Do you see the person you know as Herbert Swilley in the courtroom?
Yes, I do.
Can you please point to him and describe something he's wearing?
Yellow shirt, blue tie, in between the two attorneys.
Your Honor, may the record reflect the witness has identified the defendant?
You'll so reflect.
Did you know the defendant's husband, Tim Smith?
Yes, I did.
Did you meet the defendant and Tim Smith at the same time?
No.
Who did you meet first?
Tim.
And where did you meet Tim?
At an AA meeting.
About how long did you know Tim before he died?
Almost 3.5 years. I think he got sober in August, I want to say 19, and I think he died in 23, so it was around there.
All right, 2019 somewhere?
So, yes.
Okay. Approximately how many times a week would you see Tim at AA meetings?
At least 3 or 4.
And when did you meet the defendant?
I want to say 2 years later or 1.5 years later, all of a sudden he started coming with Tim.
So Tim was coming to the AA meetings first?
Yes.
And then the defendant followed sometime after?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, was it common for people to hang out and talk after the meetings?
Yes.
Okay. Did you do that with the defendant and Tim?
Yes.
Did you socialize with Tim or the defendant outside of the meetings?
Never.
In May of 2022, did you hire the defendant to do some work on a shed at your house?
Yes.
Was he a handyman?
That's what he said.
Did the work he was doing at your house require him to come to your house more than one time?
Yes.
All right. Approximately how many times did he come to your house?
I want to say 3. He worked on the shed and then he did a fence around it, and I think that was another day or 2.
Now, while he was at your house, did the defendant talk about Tim or his relationship with Tim?
Yes.
Right. And how was the defendant's demeanor when he would talk about Tim or their relationship?
Horrible. Screaming, arms flailing, red in the face, I'm going to get back at him, he's an effing... And I just kept walking away because Tim was a friend of mine, but I still heard what he said.
All right. So obviously he was very angry, as you've described.
Yes.
What sort of things you said, I'm going to get back at him? What other sort of things did he say about Tim or the relationship?
One of the things that sticks out in my mind is that he said that early in the relationship, he supported Tim. Tim was a lazy SOB, and he owes me, and I spent all this money, and I bought the house, and I did this, and he owes me.
Talking about Tim owes the defendant?
Yes.
Okay. And did he talk about that he had to support Tim at some point in their relationship?
Yes.
And you described that in a very angry tone. Is that how the defendant was saying those things about Tim?
Yes.
Now, what would you do when the defendant started to talk about Tim and their relationship?
Most of the time I would walk away, but sometimes I would engage a little bit. I would say things like, well, Tim always had a really good job. Why were you supporting him? Oh, Tim didn't work. He was lazy. But I'd always known Tim to have a good job.
So you would try to shut it down, but sometimes
Sometimes it would keep going.
And did this happen every time he came to work on the shed or do the fence?
Yes, every time.
Now, did the defendant ever attempt to talk about Tim when Tim was present after AA meetings?
So usually if I talk to Herb, Tim was also among the other people. And then people would start to walk away or form their own little group. And Tim was usually one of the ones that would walk away. Usually, Herb would then talk about all the other people he hated. And occasionally he would make a comment about Tim.
But not the sort of things he told you when you were alone with him at your house?
No.
Okay. And after Tim was murdered, did you contact the Marion County Sheriff's Office and tell them what you knew about the relationship between Tim and the defendant?
Yes, I did.
Thank you. I don't have any other questions.
Okay.
Cross-examination, please.
Yes, Your Honor. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
You're an attorney, correct?
Yes, sir.
Family law attorney?
Yes, sir.
So these times when Herb, my client, was talking to you, it was just the two of you speaking?
Yes, there was a neighbor that was nearby one day, but he did not become part of the conversation, and I don't know what he heard.
Okay. And you took this as just a conversation, not a consultation?
Oh, it was definitely not a consultation.
Understood. And you mentioned that you had hired Herb to do some work at your home, is that correct?
Outside my home.
Okay. And he was there on a few different days to complete that work?
2 or 3 days.
Okay. And what period of time was this? Was this May of 2022?
Yes.
Is that what you said? Okay. And the issues he claimed to be having with Tim Smith, his husband, did you verbalize those issues to Tim Smith?
No.
Okay. So you kept that, at least at the time, between you and her?
Yes, but, so that is the way Herb talked about everybody when he talked to me. It was
I
just.
don't need the explanation. I just
Oh,
need the
okay.
answer, which I have. Thank you.
Okay.
No further questions.
May you redirect?
No, Your Honor, I ask that she be excused.
Well, that witness was definitely fired up.
Oh, she was.
Yeah.
This is what happens when you have lay witnesses on the stand. They can tell you about what it's like, the interaction between this couple before the passing of Tim Smith. It says a lot to a jury.
Yeah, absolutely. Oof. Didn't sound like it was too good.
No. Let's get to our break. We've got another friend on the stand. What are they going to say about the relationship between the defendant and the victim? All of this really important in this murder trial, and questioning whether this defendant is the suspect or is the person who did this killing or some other person that the defense is pointing to. Stay with us. Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Julia Janae, along with Kelly Craft, who is in for Ted Rollins. Thank you for following along with us as we begin this hour in Florida. A man is on trial for the death of his husband.
57-year-old Herbert Swilley is accused of drugging and then strangling his husband, Tim Smith, in their home back in 2023.
The prosecutors in this case say that Swilley then moved Smith's body to an apartment that the couple used for sexual encounters with other men that they met online. And there, they say he staged a fake crime scene.
Let's get you back into the courtroom now. The state's next witness has just taken the stand. It's another friend of the defendant and the victims.
Jessica Hendricks, JESSICAHENDRICKS.
Thank you. Are you employed?
Yes,
What do you do for a living?
I sell health insurance.
And where do you live?
I live in Bellevue.
Did you know Tim Smith?
I did.
How did you meet Tim?
Through my ex-boyfriend's affiliations,
Okay. What affiliation was that?
AA,
All right. And what was your ex-boyfriend's name?
Michael Horton.
And so you went to AA meetings with
Yes.
Michael Horton, and that's where you
I
met Tim?
supported him and his friends, so I would go.
All right. How long did you know Tim before he died?
A couple years, 3, somewhere in there.
And did you know Tim's husband, Herbert Swilley?
Yes,
And how did you meet him?
through Tim. Also at the meetings.
At the meetings, all right. Now, do you see the person you know to be Herbert Swilley in the courtroom?
Yes.
Can you point to him and describe something he's wearing?
Striped blue, variations, gray, white, tie.
Your Honor, may the record reflect the witness has identified the defendant?
It will so reflect.
Now, you said your ex-boyfriend, so you and Michael Horton are not together currently.
Correct.
All right. Now, at the time you met Tim and the defendant, did you and Michael live together?
Yes.
And where did you live?
Ocala.
Would you and Michael socialize with Tim and the defendant outside of AA?
Yes.
All right. What sort of things would you do together?
They had dinner parties, gatherings at their house, and we were invited.
All right. And what sort of work did Tim do?
He was a like an administrative manager at a retirement home.
All right. And what sort of work did the defendant do?
He was a handyman.
About 1 month before Tim was murdered, did you and Michael hire the defendant to do some work at your house?
Yes.
All right. What did you hire the defendant to do?
To put in my salon sink.
All right. Were you doing a different job at that time?
I was doing both. I did hair part-time out of my house and also sold health insurance.
All right. So you said a salon sink. Is that something more complicated than a regular sink?
Yes.
All right. About how long was the defendant at your house working on the sink installation?
7 to 8 hours. It was a long day.
And while the defendant was at your house putting in the sink, did he talk about his relationship with Tim?
Yes.
How much of the time he was there did he talk about Tim?
The entire time.
7 or 8 hours?
7 or 8 hours.
Were you asking him questions about the relationship?
No.
And describe how his demeanor was when he was talking about Tim during this time.
I'm very frustrated, angry, defensive.
And what sort of things was he saying about the relationship?
He was talking about what he's put into the relationship, and Tim can't take it from him. He's gonna have to fight. It's his sweat equity, he would call it.
Did he talk about whether they were going to split up, how they would divide things?
He just said he couldn't take anything from him. He didn't tell me how.
All right. That Tim couldn't take anything from him?
Yes, that Tim could not take anything from him.
All right. Did the defendant say anything about who he would marry if he got divorced and remarried?
No.
Okay. He didn't ever say anything about, I wouldn't marry a man?
He did say that if I had to do it all over again, I would not marry a man.
Did the defendant ever talk about whose business or work he thought supported the family?
It sounded like he did.
Yeah.
He did all of he's a hardworking man.
The defendant
The
is?
defendant.
Okay. Now, from the things the defendant was saying about his relationship with Tim and the demeanor he had, did it sound like they were breaking up or appear they were splitting up?
Yes, there was definitely something going on.
And you said this went on for hours?
Yes.
Now, was your boyfriend or fiance, Mike Horton, there at the time this was happening?
Yes.
But were there times during this 7 or 8 hours where he was alone with the defendant?
Yes.
Mike was, okay.
They-
And were there times when you were alone with the defendant?
Yes.
Now, did you later learn that Tim had died?
Yes.
And after Tim died, did you go to the police and tell them about this conversation and what the defendant had said?
Yes.
Thank you. I don't have any other questions.
Cross-examination, please.
Yes, please. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
How long were you with Michael Horton, your boyfriend?
Almost 5 years.
Okay. And you two split up when?
A year ago, last June.
Okay. You mentioned while you were with Michael Horton and about 30 days or a month before Tim Smith's death, my client had done some work at the home you two were living at together. Okay. And he was there for 7 or 8 hours.
Yes.
And of that time, and I understand you were not there the whole time, how many of those hours were you?
No, I was there the whole time.
Okay. Were you with her the whole time?
I mean, I was doing stuff in my house because I was working in my office, which was near the area where he was working. I had to answer a few questions. But we had a long talk. We were talking.
Sure. And you knew both Herb and Tim, right?
Yes.
Were
Judge,
you,
hold on, man. Gotta speak up just a little bit, okay?
Okay.
were
Sorry.
you closer to Tim than you were to Herb?
Personally, I felt like I was closer to Tim. I had more conversations with Tim.
Okay. And you mentioned that for the duration of time that Herb was at your home that day, he talked about Tim the entire time.
Yes.
Okay. And after that, did you go back to Tim and let him know, hey, Herb was talking about you the whole time? What's
No.
going on?
No.
Okay.
We didn't see Tim again.
Okay. Understood. No further questions.
She excused?
Yes, Your Honor, we'd ask that she be excused.
You're excused, ma'am. Thank you very much.
State calls Michael Horton.
Morning, sir. Please stand in front of the clerk. Raise your right hand, please.
You swear or affirm testimony about to give be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Good morning. Can you please scoot up a little bit and make
Sure.
sure you speak into that microphone?
Sure.
Thank you. Can you tell the jury your name and spell it?
Michael Horton, M-I-C-H-A-E-L, H-O-R-T-O-N.
Right. Are you employed, Mr. Horton?
Yes.
What kind of work do you do for a living?
I own a health insurance agency,
And where do you live?
Ocala.
Did you know Tim Smith?
Yes.
How did you meet Tim Smith?
Through Alcoholics Anonymous.
And about how long did you know Tim?
At least 4 or 5 years.
4 or 5 years?
Yeah.
Did you know Tim's husband, Herbert Swilley?
Mm-hmm.
I need you to say yes or no.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Sorry.
Do you see the person you know to be Herbert Swilley in the courtroom?
Yes.
Can you please point to him and describe something he's wearing?
Striped tie, gray jacket.
Your Honor, may the record reflect the witness has identified the defendant?
It will so reflect.
And how did you meet the defendant?
Through Tim meetings. AA meetings, yep.
Did you know the defendant about the same amount of time you knew Tim?
Yeah. Yes.
And were you in a relationship when you first met Tim and the defendant?
Yes.
With whom?
Jessica.
Jessica
Hendricks, yep.
Are you and Jessica still together?
No.
Did you and Jessica live together at the time you were friends with Tim and the defendant?
Yes.
And would you and Jessica socialize with Tim and the defendant outside of AA meetings?
We went to their house a couple times.
Now, about 1 month before Tim was murdered, did you and Jessica hire the defendant to do some work at the house you shared?
Yes.
And what kind of work did you hire him to do?
He put in a salon sink, a tilting salon sink in the game room.
Approximately how long did it take the defendant to put that sink in?
He was there 6 to 7 hours. It was a pretty long job.
And while the defendant was at your house putting in the sink, did he talk about his relationship with Tim?
Yes.
Right. Were you asking questions about the relationship?
No.
About how long did the defendant talk about his relationship with Tim?
Well, we took a ride together to Lowe's, just me and him. So we talked there, talked at Lowe's, talked on the way back, and then probably half the time, couple hours on and off while he was doing the job, I would come in because I would be on the couch on my laptop, and around the corner is where he would be doing the sink, and he would just talk to me about stuff.
All right. And there was a time you were alone with the defendant and Jessica wasn't there when you went to Lowe's?
Yes.
All right. Now, how was the defendant's demeanor when he was talking about Tim?
Just that they were fighting a lot lately, and
How was his demeanor? Was he sad, happy,
kind
upset?
of upset.
All right. Was he angry or mad?
Yes.
All right. And what sort of things was he saying about his relationship with Tim?
I didn't even know that they were breaking up until that day, like, or talking about splitting up, and, you know, he was just basically saying if the business is in his name, and I'm thinking, you got the business after you got married to Tim, so it's, you know, 50-50, I thought, but he's like, the whole business is in my name, and if he thinks he's gonna, you know, get that, and stuff like that.
Talking about how property was going to be split up.
Yeah.
Did he mention anything about a divorce during this conversation?
He said that they were been fighting a lot lately, and they're probably going to be splitting up, and yeah.
All right. Did he say anything about Tim getting a new job?
Yeah, he was saying Tim was looking to get a new position outside of Marion County. I believe he said Daytona or Deltona or somewhere.
What did he think about Tim possibly getting a new job in Deltona or Daytona?
I don't remember. He wasn't happy about it. You know, the whole thing was just like a venting, like he was just venting. And I was trying to console him because they're both my friends at the time, because Herb's been at my house before doing other home improvements, and I've learned to know who both of them are through going to their house and everything.
So this was kind of shocking to you because you didn't know they were splitting up.
Right.
All right. And after Tim had died, did you contact the police and tell them what the defendant had told you during this conversation when he was at your house?
Yeah, I didn't think what I had to, you know, it wasn't until I read a certain story.
Hold on. Just answer the question.
Oh, sorry.
Did you contact the sheriff's office at
Yes.
some point to tell them what you knew about their relationship?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry.
It's okay. I don't have any other questions.
Cross-examination, please.
No questions, Your Honor.
Okay, the state moving quickly through witnesses here. Next witness is going to be an executive from an assisted living facility who had interviewed Tim Smith for a job that was going to be over 1 hour away. We'll be right back.
Young mother found brutally murdered.
Now the victim's boyfriend, a married father of 4,
is charged for the murder of his alleged mistress and her unborn child.
The pregnant mistress murder trial. Live coverage today, only on Court TV.
Tonight, on Closing Arguments, the suspect in the shooting of Charlie Kirk appears in court for the first time. We're live with the very latest as we break down today's hearing.
Closing Arguments, tonight at 8/7 Central, only on Court TV.
Back to court in just a moment, but first, here's a quick look at some of the other cases that we are tracking here at Court TV.
We are in Florida for quite a few cases. The fate of 5 men accused of killing a 4-year-old girl during a drive-by shooting. It's now in the hands of a jury. So we're on a jury watch or verdict watch. 44 minutes they've been at it. You see that clock ticking away at the bottom of your screen. Once there is a verdict, we will take you there live.
Also in Florida, the state is expected to arrest as early as today. This is in the pregnant mistress murder trial. Jose Soto Escalara. He is accused of killing 23-year-old Tanya Wise, and she was 8.5 months pregnant with his child.
And we're also standing by in Utah. A press conference is expected to be held in the next hour to formally announce those charges against Tyler Robinson in connection with the fatal shooting of conservative activist Charlie Kirk.
We'll keep you updated on all of these trials throughout the day, but for now, let's head back to Florida. This is the dosed and choked murder trial for Herbert Swilley. The state's next witness has just taken the stand. This is an executive who interviewed Tim Smith for a job that would have moved him about an hour away from his home.
Corsi?
You're a little soft-spoken. Can you speak up a little
Sure.
bit?
My name is Nina Corsi,
Can you spell your last name for me?
C-O-R-S-I.
Where do you work?
I work with SynCare Management. It's a management company for assisted living communities throughout Central Florida and all of Florida.
What are your duties?
My duties are to oversee all aspects of every assisted living in the North Central market. Of course, we're all over the state, but it's from housekeeping, maintenance, resident care, all of the above, all the operations.
So you're basically, you have an executive position in that company?
I do.
Okay.
Yes.
How long have you been doing that particular job with the company?
7 years.
Do you also work in conjunction with the Hermans Group?
We do.
All right, and what is the Hermans Group?
The Hermans Group is an executive recruitment company. So when we have higher level, higher paying executive positions open, we work through the Hermans Group to recruit top talent for us.
And do you know Bruce Hermans?
I do.
Who is he in relation to the Hermans Group?
Bruce is one of the recruiters.
Does the Hermans Group specialize in the area of assisted living recruitment?
They do.
Okay. Can you explain generally the process of how it is you work with the Hermans Group?
Sure.
Thanks.
Yeah. So if I have an opening for, say, an executive director position within one of my communities, we will reach out to the Hermans Group. We'll let them know what positions are open, what I'm looking for in a candidate, depending on the building, because all the buildings are a little different and they need a little something different. And he starts the search for the talent. I tell them, what the salary range is. And again, the top aspects, what we're looking for as far as, a resume and personality.
So you reach out to them, they then do the recruiting?
They do.
And then they bring the candidates back to you that
Correct.
meet your parameters?
Yes.
Understood. You mentioned that if you're looking for an executive director type position, and moving ahead a little bit, but is that the position you were looking for in relation to Tim Smith?
Yes.
What does an executive director position involve?
So an executive director oversees each individual community or the community they're assigned to. So in this instance, we're recruiting for Grand Villa of DeLand. That's what Tim was interviewing for. And he would oversee, he'd basically be the boss, for lack of a better term, of everything that happened within that community. So he oversees the communities and I oversee the executive directors. That's kind of how the chain works.
When you would reach out to the Hermans Group for an applicant, would the Hermans Group do any kind of preliminary interview with that applicant?
They absolutely would. And that's one of the things that we love about working with them. They will actually they'll find a resume that meets kind of our criteria with experience. And then they actually do an interview. Usually it's via Zoom. And they record that interview and share it with me. So I can kind of pre-screen candidates to see, is this someone that would fit for what I'm looking for? Or is this just not a good match?
If the person is interviewed by the Hermans Group and meets the criteria you're looking for, they send that interview to you?
Yes.
What is the next step in the procedure then?
Yes, so once I say this is a candidate I'm interested in, then we schedule an interview with me. And that can either be in person or via Zoom. And then I go through the interview process and make the recommendation to our owners if this is someone that I want to move forward and offer a position to.
In your experience, if you are, after you interview an applicant and you go to your chief officer and recommend this person.
One of the owners.
The owners, okay. And recommend this person, what usually happens?
Usually there's a conversation between the owners. There's 5 directors that all have ownership in the company. Excuse me. And then they put together a compensation sheet that says, we're making you this official offer. Here's what your compensation's going to look like. You report to Nina, so on and so forth.
Is your recommendation usually given great weight?
Yes, of course, yeah.
Let me direct your attention to March of 2023. Were you in contact with Bruce Hermans from the Hermans Group regarding an applicant named Tim Smith?
Yes.
Had you ever met Tim Smith personally?
I had met him once, I believe, at a professional conference, Florida Senior Living Association. I just remember shaking his hand. Hi, Nina, nice to meet you, but I had no personal relationship with him at all.
Is the assisted living community kind of a small community?
It is. It's a tight-knit community. I mean, there's over 3,000 ALFs in Florida, believe it or not. But there are several small organizations that advocate for assisted living, advocate for them, and that's why it becomes small, because everybody is a piece of one of those organizations, and that's how I met him.
So kind of everybody knows everybody in the area?
Everybody knows everybody. Everybody knows who has been doing it for 20 years. Everybody knows who to go to if they need a specialty, et cetera.
And would you know the executive directors of other facilities in the area?
Sure. Again, it's a small world. People move between companies, so that's how you kind of connect. I used to work for this company, well, so did I, so on.
You mentioned earlier that you were recruiting for an executive director position for an assisted living facility in Daytona?
Correct. Well, it's DeLand.
DeLand, excuse me.
Yep.
what, you touched on this a few minutes ago, what specifically did that job entail, the executive director of that?
So we have a couple requirements for our executive directors. They have to be within proximity for emergencies of the community. So we try to keep people close to the community. And then they are there 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. minimum, overseeing day-to-day operations. So making sure they're meeting with families and their care plans are taken care of, the residents are getting the care they need, that they're, the housekeeping team and maintenance team, the, asset management wise, the building is kept up. Every aspect, the hiring, the firing, the promoting, the marketing, the sales, filling of the building. It's a big job. The executive director position is a big job.
All right, important witness here because it's still going to the motive. Also want to address the clock that's actually in the corner of your screen. We actually have about 3.5 minutes that the Sampson jury has been out. But this one is a countdown to the Tyler Robinson press conference that we're expecting to happen within 36 minutes.
Yeah, we've been watching that one case with Sonny Bell, and they're going through a lot of evidence in that case. There's a lot to go through. You have 5 defendants, and then, of course, this presser coming up as well. So looking forward to hearing what they have to say out there in Utah. Why don't we bring in Marie Pereira, though? We're going to talk about this case we have been watching. Marie, we have seen the state bring up a number of witnesses here who they are talking about the relationship between the victim and the defendant, and the relationship didn't look like it was going very well, to say the least.
I think these witnesses are important because although we're talking same-sex marriage, it's the same situation as a heterosexual situation. And the defense is going with the D defense again, denying that it was their client who committed this murder and demonizing the deceased because they're saying that basically he was a slutty husband who had a whole other apartment where they used to go to have sexual relations with other people who were not, part of their marriage. So he's saying, I didn't do it. He must have went to the apartment without my knowledge and had, a situation with another man, and that guy did it. Same situation. So it's important for the prosecutors to set forth the motive because they have to put the circumstances together that would make it likely that it was the defendant that did it. So the defendant went everywhere talking crap about the husband, saying, oh, he was a terrible person, and he created the motive for them. But remember now, everybody who's coming forward was Tim's friend more than the defendant's friend. And really, they did a little too much, especially the first witness, Diane, the lawyer. She went on and on and on, and it kind of crushed her credibility because she looks like she was so thirsty to throw the defendant under the bus that she might have been embellishing her testimony. So it's important for them to keep on putting people who are credible and to establish there was beef between them. He was complaining that Tim took all his money and there was problems in paradise. Never too much because this is a circumstantial motive case and they have to set the reason why he would have murdered his husband and transported him back to the sex den to pretend that it was another person who did it.
I love this analysis, Marie, because you've really broken down well these witnesses we've had on the stand, because I do think they deepen the motive in this case. They give this what's supposed to be a neutral stance because they knew both of them, most of these people. But as you mentioned, there are some who have felt like they were very much the friend that was upset about what was going on in their relationship. We've got to get to a break, Marie, but stand by. When we come back, we'll have more of the Dosed and Choked murder trial happening in Ocala, Florida, and we'll keep an eye on all those other cases that we're watching for you here on Court TV. Stay with us.
Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Kelly Craft, in today for Ted Rollins, along with Julia Janae.
That's right, and we are in Ocala, Florida this afternoon, where our newest live trial is underway. The defendant here is Herbert Swilley.
And he is charged with first-degree murder in the death of his husband, Timothy, who investigators say was drugged, beaten, and strangled before his body was moved to a to stage a fake crime scene.
Yeah, the defense says no, it wasn't fake, that the crime scene was at a separate place away from their house, and that it was likely strangers that they had met up with in the past who killed the victim here. Let's go back into the courtroom now. We're listening to more people who knew the victim personally. This is Nina Corsi. She interviewed him for a position that she was going to give him an hour and a half away at an assisted living facility.
Did the facility in DeLand that you were recruiting for, did that have a specific clientele? Was it more elderly? Was it more,
Yes.
children?
So all of our communities are 65 plus. There are a few exceptions, but it is a senior population is what we specialize in. Independent living, assisted living, and memory care.
Did you follow the same procedure you just described earlier about reaching out to Bruce Herman's looking for applicants?
Yes.
Okay, and how did that process work with Tim Smith?
Just like I explained it before, so I reached out, I said, this is a candidate I'm looking for, and he sent me a video of an interview with Tim.
Would you have given Bruce Herman's the parameters of the position, the salary you're looking for, and all those things?
Yes.
Did you watch the interview that Bruce Herman sent to you of his interview with Tim Smith?
Multiple times, yes.
And when was that interview conducted?
It was in, I believe, the middle of March.
Were you aware where Tim Smith was working previously?
Yes.
Where was he working?
He's working at one of the largest Brookdales in Florida, here in the Ocala area.
What was his role at that facility?
He was the executive director at that facility as well. It was actually a bigger facility than the DeLand property that he was interviewing for.
Do you know how long he had been working at Brookdale?
From my understanding, years, like many, many years.
Was it surprising to you that he was interested in changing jobs after being in that same facility for so long?
Very surprising.
When you reviewed the interview that was provided by Bruce Herman's, was there any indication as far as why Tim Smith was interested in changing positions?
That question was asked. Tim was very politically correct and HR appropriate. He did not speak ill of anything or anybody, just said he was very excited for a new opportunity and for a change.
Based on your review of the interview, what was your next step? What did you do?
I immediately reached out to our president and owner and said, I need a comp sheet. This guy's great.
You need a what sheet?
A comp sheet, a compensation sheet. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
Yes, I need to make this guy an offer. He's a good guy. He's overly qualified, incredibly professional. This property in particular, we have some properties that are very homey and feel like home, and then we have some grander properties. This was a grander property, and Tim had that grander presence. He would have done very, very well with a clientele within DeLand.
Based on that impression that you had, did you schedule an interview with Mr. Smith?
Yes, we were scheduled for an interview at 9 a.m., I believe on the 24th.
That was on Friday, the 24th?
Correct.
And who was scheduled to be at that
Excuse
interview?
me 1 second. 24th of what month?
Of March.
March.
Okay.
Who was scheduled to be at that interview?
Tim and I.
Was that interview going to be done in person or remotely?
We were going to do it via Zoom.
What was the salary being offered for the position in DeLand?
It was, we say base 110, but we knew we were going to have to pay around $130,000 for him to make the change.
And I'm assuming since you're recruiting Mr. Smith, you knew what his salary was at Brookdale?
Correct.
What was it?
I think it was around $135, if I remember correctly, in the email that was sent to me.
If Tim Smith would have been hired for this DeLand position, would he have had to relocate or could he have worked remotely?
No, he would have definitely relocated.
You indicated the interview was scheduled by virtually on March 24th, 2023 at 9 a.m.
Correct.
How was that interview coordinated?
It was coordinated through Bruce, the recruiter, and at some point I started communicating directly with Tim just to confirm the next morning. And on the 23rd at 9, I believe it was 9:43 p.m., he emailed me back and said, yep, I can't wait to talk to you tomorrow. Looking forward to meeting you.
So would you have shortly before that sent him a link for him to access for
Yes,
the
he
interview?
already had the link. He confirmed with Bruce, the recruiter, he was ready to interview at 9 a.m. the next morning.
So after that communication the night before, Thursday the night before, was everything on track for him to be interviewed the following morning at 9 a.m.?
Correct, yes.
Was there anything alarming or concerning in any of the communications between you and him to indicate that this was not going to go through?
Nothing alarming, just excitement to be able to finally connect and get things moving.
Except for sending him the invite the evening before the interview, did you ever have any direct personal communication with him?
I did not.
Direct your attention to March 24th, now Friday morning of 2023 at 9 a.m., the time of the interview. Did Mr. Smith log in?
He did not.
Was that surprising to you?
Very.
What did you do?
I first texted him. I did not hear anything. And I texted Bruce as well and said, are we good to go? Have you heard from him? I found it very strange that he was not on the call.
Did you eventually learn why he wasn't on the call?
Yes.
Did you learn he was deceased?
Yes.
After you learned this information, did you reach out to people from the Marion County Sheriff's Office to provide the information that you knew?
I did. Right away.
Thank you so much, ma'am. No further questions, Your Honor.
Cross-examination, please.
Yes, please. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
You mentioned on direct examination that this new position that you were trying to fill was in DeLand, correct?
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And when asked on direct examination, you mentioned that Tim Smith would have had to relocate to take that position.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And where are you located?
Me personally?
Yes.
Yes.
For work. Where do you work?
For work. So I am in a regional position, which is a commuting position. So I'm in Central Florida. I live in Orlando, but I commute about an hour and a half to all my properties.
So you do a lot of regional travel, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay. And so between Ocala and DeLand would be one of your routes of travel, I would imagine.
No, we don't have a property currently in Ocala, but yes, Altamont Springs, DeLand, Ormond Beach, Palm Coast, and St. Augustine.
Understood. Okay. And you mentioned contacting the Marion County Sheriff regarding Tim's death.
Yes.
And you did that April 1 of 2023, is that right?
I do not know the exact date that it was. I don't recall.
Not long after
Oh,
Tim Smith missed the
Correct.
interview.
As soon as I heard that he had passed away and that it was under suspicious means, I called right away.
So you did a brief text exchange with Tim Smith while he was alive, correct?
I don't recall texting with him until he missed his interview.
I see. So that was when you reached out to him via
I
text.
believe,
So
yes.
prior to that, all direct communication between you and Tim was done via email?
It was, yes, between Tim and I do not recall having a text conversation with Tim. 90% of the discussions were between Bruce and him until it was confirmed that we had a one-on-one interview.
And you never spoke to Tim over the phone?
I do not recall speaking to Tim on the phone, no.
Your Honor, I have no further questions.
No questions, Your Honor. She's released.
You're excused, ma'am. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
All right, another witness is able to tell us more about what was going on within this relationship. One person leaving potentially. And remember, we've also got this $300,000 life insurance policy that's at the center of it. Let's get to a break. When we come back, we've got more witnesses, another lay witness on the stand. This one is a coworker and friend of the victim, Tim Smith.
Tonight, on closing arguments, the suspect in the shooting of Charlie Kirk appears in court for the first time. We're live with the very latest as we break down today's hearing.
Closing arguments tonight at 8/7 Central, only on Court TV.
Join me for a Court TV true crime series.
I've never seen anything like this.
This was a whole different level.
Victim to Verdict with Ted Rowlands. Season premieres September 27th.
Only on Court TV.
Well, welcome back to Court TV Live. Let's get you back inside of our newest live trial, the dosed and choked murder trial, where the defendant is Herbert Swilley.
Swilley was arrested back in 2023 for the murder of 59-year-old Timothy Floyd Smith, his husband. The couple had been married nearly 8 years. Smith was found dead in an Ocala apartment after he failed to show up for work.
And what unfolded was that the prosecution says this defendant killed his husband and then moved his body into another apartment that they owned. Let's get you back into the courtroom now. We've got another witness on the stand. Everyone's been talking about their relationship and how the defendant wasn't happy with his partner. This is a former coworker of the victim.
Please tell the jury your name and spell it.
Tammy Warner, Tammywarner.
Are you employed?
Yes, I am.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm in marketing and senior living.
All right. I want to direct your attention to the beginning of 2023. Were you working at the same position then?
I was working same type of work, but at a different community.
Okay. What community were you working at in 2023?
With 2023. Brookdale.
All right. Brookdale Senior Living?
Yes.
All right. How long in total did you work for Brookdale?
I worked there 2 different times, so the first time it was almost 2 years, and the second time it was almost 2 years.
What was the time frame you worked there the second time?
From 21 to 23.
And why did you leave in 2023?
I just didn't want to be there no more.
Was that after Tim was murdered?
Yeah.
Now, can you tell the jury a little bit about Brookdale? What is Brookdale?
So Brookdale is an assisted living community, independent assisted living and memory care. They're one of the largest in the country. They have 3 communities here in Ocala. I happen to work at all 3 of them.
What position were you in when you left Brookdale in 2023?
I was a sales manager.
Had you held many other positions with Brookdale?
I had. I was their business development director as well as their sales counselor.
And did you know Tim Smith?
I did.
Right. When did you first meet Tim?
I crossed paths with Tim. I can't even begin to tell you how many years because I'm from here. We both worked in the same industry, so we kind of crossed paths. We didn't get to really know each other until I went to work for Brookdale, which was probably 2016.
So you knew him through the senior assisted living community, and then you really didn't get to know him until you worked with him at Brookdale.
Correct.
All right. And how did you come to work at Brookdale?
I just applied and got the position. It was a different community than what Tim worked at. But because it was Brookdale here in town, we all did things together. Brookdale's when one event happens for one community, everybody gets involved.
At some point, did Tim reach out to you to come work for him at the Brookdale he was at?
Tim did. Tim tried to get me to come to work for him a few times, but we had become friends, and I'm not big on mixing friends and work, but finally he convinced me.
All right. And was that in 2021 when you
Correct.
said you went there? All right.
Mm-hmm.
And what was Tim's position at Brookdale when you went to work for him there in 2021?
Executive director.
And did that cover all 3 locations you said that Brookdale had in Marion County?
At times he did. If they did not have an executive director at the other communities, then Tim would oversee all of them, or whichever one didn't have an ED.
Do you know approximately how long Tim worked for Brookdale?
7 to 8 years. I think it was going on 8.
And you said you worked with him at Brookdale for 2 years?
Correct.
Was Tim your boss?
My direct boss was Athena, and then he was over all of us.
So he was kind of the boss of your boss?
Correct.
Did you see Tim every day?
Pretty much.
Were you close?
Yes.
Did Tim's job require him to do a lot of community events?
A lot.
Okay. What sort of community events?
Chamber and Economic, Marion County Continuity of Care, Hispanic Council. I can't even begin to tell you how many there are, but that's part of what he brought me on for in 21 was to help cover that.
All right. So you would go to these community events with him?
Correct.
Were those events sometimes after work or on the weekends?
Yes.
Did you know Tim's husband, Herbert Swilley?
I did.
Do you see the person you know as Herbert Swilley in the courtroom today?
I do.
Can you please point to him and describe something he's wearing?
The gray jacket, striped tie, kind of a yellowish shirt, glasses.
Your Honor, may the record reflect the witness has identified the defendant.
Yes, it reflects.
And how did you meet the defendant?
Through Tim.
Were you and Tim friends as well as co-workers?
Yes.
Were you friends with the...
Still with us, criminal defense attorney Marie Herrera. Marie, more people on the stand establishing the relationship that they had either with the defendant or the victim or both of them.
I think this is great storytelling because not only is it humanizing Tim, it's making him look like a very responsible person who seemed to me like he was the primary income earner with a stable job. And it tells us that Tim was about to bounce because he was actually interviewing for another job. It's adding on to the circumstantial evidence and it's adding on to the motivation that the defendant had to get rid of him because he felt he was the one that was wronged and that Tim, he's trying to say, was cheating on him outside of their relationship in the Love Den apartment. And he's trying to make Tim look bad. In this situation, everyone is making Tim look like a good person who was murdered by the defendant. And it's adding up every single little brick of circumstance to substantiate the motive. It is like storytelling. I'm on the edge of my seat because it's really showing the nature of their relationship through the lens of people who knew them well. But again, they have to be careful because you don't want to seem like all of those people are the deceased person's friends and they're making the defendant look bad so they can get a conviction. So all of those witnesses, those work friends, they work well, but they have to be careful not to overdo it and ruin their credibility.
You know, Marie, this is actually reminding me of the Monica Cementelli trial. Fabio Cementelli, we had all of these co-workers and friends coming in, and I think it's a great tool for the prosecution. What do you think about whether or not this defendant is going to testify? We know he had a GoFundMe page. He was the grieving husband. He was raising money after all of this.
I don't think that he's going to testify so far because, I mean, what is he going to come and say? That, of course, what he's saying is the man was not murdered by him. He's using the shaggy defense. I didn't do it. He doesn't sound sympathetic, even though he didn't say a word yet. The story is so compelling. I don't think he's going to.